Alright, so hey guys, it's me again, your girl RaiA, back again with another video. So our topic for today will be all about damage reduction and how to increase your damage reduction, because this is one of the inner stats that is very important in game for your survivability. So without further ado, let's get on with the video, shall we? So as you guys can see, the character that I'm using right now is my RaiA Gaming, which is my archer that is in server 28 and it's currently under Infamous Guild. So my character, by the way, doesn't really have the highest of the highest damage reduction. It's 89%, but this is something that I wanted to teach you guys, the places where you can increase your damage reduction, so that if you're struggling into making it higher, at least now you would understand and know where exactly you can pull up the stats. Now this is very helpful, by the way, during team fights, just like Roland Wars, Ice and Fire, or whenever you're doing PvP, because this is something that increases your chance to survive during those times. So the first place pretty much where you can get it, just like in damage absorb, guys, it would be in here, which is the glorious title. Now of course, just like what I mentioned on the first video when I did the damage absorb, you guys might be complaining that this is something that is supposed to be for pay-to-play players, but guys, you don't have to worry, because most of the titles, or some of the titles, can also be obtained just by simply joining and doing events, just being active, and also if you're lucky, just by using pink diamonds, you get it or loot it from, you know, the odds, the treasure odds. That's one of my favorite places where you guys can get it. Now there's a lot of titles that is now available in game. You may purchase this one, of course, in the grand store, but if you are pretty much a free-to-play player, right, or you rely pretty much on your luck, then you can explore and enjoy treasure odds, because that's actually one of my most favorite things in the game. And as you guys can see, some of the titles there are quite hard to get, but again, do not worry and do not stress yourself out, because treasure odds can be really giving when it comes to titles. You just have to be very patient. Either you do it on a daily basis or try to save as much keys and then do it all one time. You know, it's up to you. It's really up to you. Now next, moving forward, let's go on with the other place where you can increase it, and that would be here. So let's focus on the main part, which is the Sigil. Now the Sigil, by the way, guys, can be increased by getting fame. Now fame is something that you can earn by simply participating in arena, by doing Iron Blood PK, by joining Phantom Monastery. So those other PvP fights, just like that, those mini events that you can do on a daily basis, you can earn your fame there, which is this currency that you can use for the Sigil. So this is the most basic one, and the only thing that you need to do is just be active and do your dailies. That's pretty much it. You don't really have to do anything so extra to increase your Sigil. And as you guys can see, I'm ranked 13. It gives me 45%, which is good. Now moving forward, we're going to talk about the master talent. As you guys can see, at the Sacred Sanctuary, the fourth skill that you guys can increase there, it will be the damage reduction. And as you guys can see, I haven't even maxed it yet. I've only put in one because I kind of focus on leveling recently, but if I manage to do it, I'll probably get like up to 5.1% of damage reduction out of it. So this is another good place where you can increase it, because master talent, guys, is something that you can work on, especially if you're lacking on that specific stats, like for example damage, inner stats, or HP. So moving forward, let me show you guys here. This is the spirit. In spirit, you can get it from the talent stats. Now getting damage reduction from the talent stats is really rare. However, you can actually get it from here. As you guys can see, my razor actually has the damage reduction, and you cannot find it in the relation, but you can find it on the talent stats. So this is, if it's something that you cannot get from the talent stats, do not stress yourself out, because there are other places where you can get it. If it's something that you really can't get, again, it's okay. I'm just telling you guys that this is just one place where you can actually get it. But if you're not lucky, it's fine. Don't stress yourself. Now moving forward, let me show you guys the mount skins. Now as you guys can see, this is the mount skin that I am using, but just like I've explained on the damage absorb, it's all about the skin stats. So as you guys can see, I do have damage reduction that I can get from the skin stats, but it's not that high. Now the reason why that, you know, that's the amount that I only get is because the main, you know, the main mount skin that I'm using kind of focuses on the damage absorb. So that's the reason why my damage absorb is high. Now there are some skin stats here, as you guys can see, that can provide me 1% from their stats, but the problem is I'm using it as a sub mount skin stats, which means that it will only give me 5% of whatever stats that they have. So do not stress yourself again if you're seeing that I have this really good mount, but I only use it as a sub mount for the stats. If you're not getting that, you know, if you're not really getting it in a quite high level, just chill, okay? Now moving forward, I'm gonna show you that mount awakening. So just like I've explained last time, every single time you rank it up, it can increase your damage absorb as well as your damage reduction at a certain percentage. If I remember, the max amount is like 10%, and you have 5 statues or 5 mount awakening pretty much that you can rank up. So that means you can get an instant 50% out of it. Now it's a bit costly because getting this orc crystals is not really that easy. You can use alliance contribution, or you may buy it somewhere else, but you know, patience guys. Just make sure that you're active and you're doing, or you're joining alliance quest or alliance events so that you can earn it. Now next, pretty much this is one of the best place where you can get damage reduction as well as damage resist. It is from the skins. Now as you guys can see, I do have a lot of skins, but I haven't really invested too much on it. So most of the time you can get damage reduction in your weapons as well as your costumes, but you just have to be mindful of the things that you're using, because of course a lot of you guys will be complaining that, hey Miss Raya, I'm actually an MG, I don't really have that much skin. Well, if you guys know the workaround wherein you can actually use other characters' skins, then just be mindful of what you're getting. Now of course this is very expensive. This can be quite costly, because by just simply opening some slots for your, you know, from your wardrobe can cost you like around 500 diamonds per slots. So again, it can be very costly, but it is definitely worth it if you are trying to increase your damage reduction as well as your resist, because of course those skins may provide you maybe around 800 500 when you activate it, but it can increase. Now next one, this is something that I don't really recommend because this is the most expensive place you can get it, and that is by getting a rank 13 archangel weapon, a set archangel weapon. And this can provide you up to 50% damage reduction. But again, even the most even if the richest players in the game doesn't really have an R13, because it is quite expensive. It is quite expensive. The only reason why I'm showing this to you guys, because of course, like I mentioned in the first part of the video, I'm showing you guys where you can increase your damage reduction. So this is included, but if it's something that is not doable for you, then do not stress yourself out, because you still have the skins as your primary option. Most of the top players increase their reduction as well as their resist just by simply opening the slots and completing or getting as much skins as they can. Okay, so you just have to collect, you just have to farm, sell, collect. Farm, sell, collect. That's the only thing that you have to do in order for you to survive and get as much skins as possible for you to complete that thing. Now lastly, this is just an alternative option. It's the glyph. Now as you guys can see, if you refine the stats that is available when you complete the red or the yellow glyph set, you can get damage reduction out of it, but you just have to be mindful whenever you're making changes like this, because even though that this can provide me 3% damage reduction, if you sacrifice physical skill bonus of 20%, is it worth it? So whenever you're making changes like this, you just have to be mindful of what you're doing, and you always have to consider the stats that you are replacing. Is it something that you're lacking? Is it something that is too high? Maybe you need to pull it down a little bit. Just don't make some hasty decision because you're trying to increase just one specific stat. It's always best to keep your stats as balanced as possible. You always have to look at your stats to know what you're missing or what you're lacking before you make your changes. And I guess pretty much that is every single place where you can increase your damage reduction. Now, if ever that you guys have any questions, just please make sure that you leave them on the comment box down below. If I missed out on anything, which I kind of doubt, but if I do miss out on something, just let me know on the comment box down below. So pretty much that is it for my video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you have questions, just leave them on the comment box down below. I really appreciate your time and your patience, and see you guys again on my next video. Peace out. XOXO RaiA.